Good evening and welcome to People's Internet Radio. My name's Andy Young and we're going to have a bit of fun tonight. We've got nothing particularly planned and we've got a surprise guest. But first of all, I'd like to say hello to everybody who's in the chat room, being as it is such a special day. So we go down the list. There's Andrew K. Fletcher, one of our previous guests there. Good evening, Andrew. Feel free to give us a call if I know you've got some news to put out there. Obviously, if you're busy, you know, family and stuff like that, no worries about it. And then we've got Baboshka, Hugh. Is you addressing me? I believe that's Cotty. And then we've got Jeff. Hi, Jeff. We've got Keno and Suzy. Hi, both of you. Luby Lou. Hiya. Mahatma Coat. Evening, Mahatma. Martin Farrell, who'd be... I was thinking Martin will be following us later at 9. Yes, it is Friday, isn't it? Yeah. And then we've got Michael Reese, Newman, Nita Benfield, Paul Sturm, Slim Boy, and Sots, formerly G-Man. Good evening to all of you. Hope you're all having an absolutely fabulous day and that Santa brought you whatever you want. But as I read those names out there, we've got one of those names has joined me for a quick chat tonight, and that is Baboshka. Good evening, how are you doing?
Hello, Andy. Hello, everyone in the chat room, PIR. Seasonal greetings to all thee. So how's you, Andy?
Yeah, I'm good. Had a good day. Not really done much. Kind of been looking round to see what's happening in the world, and apparently... when Christmas Day falls on a full moon, nothing happens. Did see a little link there from Sturm earlier on that Greville Janna's not dead, but I think that's perhaps a subject we could leave for another day, given it's, you know, everybody's trying to forget about the horrible things that are going on in the world today. And before we go on, I would just like to say a special hello to a father and son, and I believe the son is probably one of our youngest listeners, and that's Keith and Daniel. I saw you look like you was having a brilliant dinner today. Hope you've had a fantastic day, and hope it carries on and you have a fantastic new year as well. So, what would you like to talk to us about then tonight, Yvonne?
Oh, anything and everything. I'm a bit sober tonight after last night. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Andy's my witness.
The world's fastest drunk.
Someone bought me a bottle of that ginger wine, and I don't drink. And last night I had a couple of sips, and how quick was it, Andy?
It was fairly damn quick. Yeah, within about 30 seconds to a minute, you were giggling your face off.
Yeah, so that's the reason why I don't drink, because it just goes straight to my head. But it's practically a year that I've been in PIR now.
Wow.
This time last year I was in the hostel, and it's completely a turnaround to how dark times were then.
Yeah.
So, and since then, obviously, I've joined the chat room in PIR. And I've met some fabulous people, some funny people, and some cheeky people like Patty. Yes.
Look out, Patrick, she's coming with that paddle.
Yeah. So, as people know, I've had some problems with She Above while I've been living here, sound issues and that, and I've been carrying on with the battle, and hopefully I'll be getting put on a management transfer move, so hopefully I'll be moving to quieter pastures, and then I can just get on with my life and love living it.
Excellent. Yeah, when we were talking briefly before we came on air, you did say you'd like to talk about food. Good day to talk about food, I think.
Yeah, I've come across a lot of people have a lot of back trouble, yeah. And I've got Charcot-Marie tooth, which I've mentioned before, Russos levi neuropathy, scoliosis, spondylitis, and a bit of arthritis, you know, to put in the mix.
Just for good measure, right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I have a bed rail on my bed because the pains can be so bad, and each condition has its own problems, yeah. And it was bizarre because when I was about 11, I went to GlaxoSmithKline. It wasn't GlaxoSmithKline then, because it's expanded, hasn't it, for tests and that. And nothing ever come of those tests, and there was never any medicines, pills or remedies in how to deal with sharp and marrow tooth in particular.
Right.
So, you know, my opinion is they have their own personal agenda for that. And I think when we do test into these conditions and that, it's not to make them better. It's to find new diseases, new problems and whatever, but that's another story. Yeah. So anyway, over the years and that, I've struggled with these conditions, and I can't have painkillers for them because of the side effects and that. So I've been playing around, particularly with food, and I've eliminated now from my food aspartame, fluoride, fructose corn syrup, and most tinned products, apart from the beans and from tomatoes. And the reduction in pain in my body, I can say it's about 80%.
Wow, that's quite incredible, that.
And it is, because I feel as though my body is 10 years younger. My balance has improved a lot. I've also been dancing a lot of late, particularly to Tony's tunes, the Winkers tunes, yeah, which has helped me balance. Both is helping each other. But when I went to America, it was a very long flight, and I had no control over what I could eat, what I could drink. And so obviously all the fluids that I shouldn't have had, I had to eat and drink. And by the time I arrived at my daughter's, it felt like, I thought I was dying. It felt like every bone in my body was crushing me. Yeah?
Yeah.
And I didn't think I'd survive the next day. So anyway, all it meant, I had to get back to my routine of avoiding all the fructose corn syrup, buying water without fluoride in, because another problem is my daughter's got fluoride in her water. So if I need a shower or anything, I have to go to her friends who lives in the next district who doesn't have fluoride.
Oh, wow, that's quite a nuisance, isn't it?
It's very inconvenient because, you know, I have to depend on people to give me a lift to go to hers to get a shower, because fluoride goes into the pores and that. And then after, like, you know, about 5 days of my routine and that, things started getting back to normal. But I do want to emphasise the effects that I can't say which one. Fluoride does this, fructose does that, whatever, because I stopped them all more or less, you know, at the same time. And but I don't think people realise the problems these chemicals, what it poisons, does to your body. And the more we seem to be having this pumped into our body, the more pain, back pains in particular, people are suffering with.
Yeah. Yeah, I was only saying the other night to you, when we were chatting, how, I think it was when we were talking to Rick Dwyer the other night, how it amazes me, everybody I seem to make contact with these days seems to have some sort of a spinal problem.
Yeah, and I do believe that fluoride is a big part of that. You know, how long have we been brushing our teeth?
Yes.
Taking rat poison, more or less, you know. And it's about time we started taking responsibility what we put in our body, instead of going, well, you know, blaming the governments and that, because if we didn't put this in our bodies, if we didn't buy it, there'd be no market for it.
No.
So it's up to us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the stuff they put in the water is just an industrial waste product, isn't it? From, I believe, aluminium smelting.
Industrial waste byproduct of the aluminium, yeah. You know, I'd love to know who thought of that. Oh, what's the cheapest way of dumping this deadly chemical?
Yeah.
I know. Let's pretend it's good for teeth. It causes fluorosis.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at people's teeth, particularly in America where the water's fluoridated, the teeth's like pitted.
Uh-huh.
And then eventually it starts crumbling and that, and you know, so if it affects the teeth, then obviously it's going to affect the bones.
Yeah.
It's all part of the same makeup.
Well, yeah, I mean, spondylosis is something I'm hearing a lot more of now, which maybe 20 years ago, I never ever heard the word. You know,
yeah.
I must have at least 10 or a dozen friends who are really having problems with that. And for those who are not aware of the condition, it's basically that your whole skeleton starts crumbling, isn't it? Particularly your spine.
Yeah. You know, it's amazing how all these diseases have cropped up, and I'm tired of this. It's because of the advanced technology, the advanced research that we have, that we're picking up this. No. You know, look at cancer when we were younger.
Yeah.
It was a taboo subject.
Yeah.
Because, and do you remember something else when you were a kid? Do you remember our granddad or someone like that wouldn't go in hospital because they always had the idea if they went into hospital they would never come out again? Do you remember those days?
Yeah.
It's bizarre because we're going back to those days, aren't we?
Seem to be, yeah.
Pick a lottery ticket if you're going to come out alive or not. Happy seasons.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is quite a worrying trend, and when you talk about cancer, I mean, the conversations that you and I and a few others have had with Rick Dwyer. For those who are not aware, Rick took part in the film Run From the Cure with Rick Simpson, and he was the former president of the Canadian Legion who tried to give his support to Rick Simpson because he could see that he was curing people of all kinds of things, and in particular cancers, with the use of hemp oil. Now, Rick stood behind him fearlessly, and he gave his support to it, and as a result of that, the RCMP, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police, came in and shut down their branch of the Canadian Legion, and when they had their meeting, Rick wasn't even allowed to speak at that meeting, was he? But, I mean, he's been demonised by the press, by the government, by the police, yet these people who demonised him and crossed the street to avoid him, people that he grew up with, played hockey with, all his life, these people, if they get someone in the family who falls ill, they come quietly running, tail between their legs to Rick, don't they?
It's a big turnaround now, isn't it? It's good that people are starting to accept, you know, the oil for the medicinal properties that it has. And this is something else. You know, I met someone while I was in Canada. He was taking the oil and that. But then at the same time, they'd be taking a lot of alcohol, drinking loads of coke, totally putting loads of crap in the body. And their attitude is, it's okay, the oil will fix it. Well, it doesn't.
No.
It doesn't work that way.
No.
You know, because then that just means that it's constantly battling with all these poisons when it should be healing
Yeah.
the sick body already. You know, it's like toxic poison.
Yeah.
And it was just bizarre. I was just like, how stupid.
Uh-huh.
You know, because at the end of the day, it's a balance. It's a balance of what you put in your body. You know, I'll still have my chocolate, but I'll make sure it's got no fructose in it.
Yeah.
I pay quite a bit for it. And I've come to the conclusion now, you know, the only way I'm going to be able to eat cakes is by baking my own. Because it's a nightmare now, because when I go shopping, I come back out with very little.
Yeah.
You know, but as long as I've got my full fat milk, sort of semi-skimmed crap, because semi-skimmed has got powdered milk in, which is not good for you. You know, if you're going to have your fats, have your fats.
Yeah.
Don't replace it with all this sugar and that. You need certain types of fats.
Yeah, I mean, I've read quite a few articles by natural doctors this year who said that sugar is probably one of the deadliest drugs ever used by mankind. It's one of the most addictive and causes the most health problems. Because when you look at the people who die from all the other illegal drugs, and then look at the people who die from sugar, probably quite a large imbalance there.
Well, I don't have white sugar, I have dairy sugar, but I love my sugar and my coffee, I love my coffee, I love my fat milk, I love my tobacco. So I'm not perfect.
No,
Far
that's
from
right.
I've still got some of my vices, you know. They're more likely the worst. But c'est la vie.
Well, you mentioned tobacco there, and we're all told that tobacco causes cancer, yet a lot less people smoke than when I was a kid. Every adult that I knew, almost without exception, smoked then. Smoked cigarettes or a pipe or whatever. But now, there's so many that I know that have quit altogether, yet the figures are going up. There's more and more people being diagnosed every year. And it's better diagnostic methods. Sorry, don't buy that.
What was... there was some stupid excuse why lung cancer was going up. You know? I think, you know all these statistics about lung cancer and that, caused by smoking. And remember they were going on about Roy Castle.
Yeah.
Second-hand smoking that. Well, what they failed to tell the public and that, a lot of these places he was gigging in had asbestos in.
I never thought of that, yeah.
And you know when you've got music and that, it vibrates.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the dust, etc. You know, common sense. Look, you know, there's no intelligence thinking about it. It's just common sense. Yet they never mention that.
No.
And how many of these places that did have asbestos in? A lot.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, they're not going to go, oops, it's asbestos. Because they tried to cover that up for a long time.
That's right, yeah.
I think, you know, this is one of the reasons why lung cancer hasn't gone down, because one of the main culprits for it is asbestos. But I could be wrong, but that's my train of thought.
Yeah, I think that's probably a very good point. Yeah, so you mentioned you've got this Charcot-Marie-Tooth condition, which is something that I'd never heard of until I came across you. Can you explain to the listeners a little bit what that's all about?
Excuse me. It's affects the peripheral nerves and the myelin, yeah. And now the myelin's like a lecky wire.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got your copper wire, and then you've got your plastic coating. Well, the nerves are inside, and the myelin's the plastic coating, and that's damaged. So obviously the nerves don't run smoothly to the end, so it affects the hands and the feet. But there's various degrees of it. people can be born blind with it, totally crippled in a wheelchair, not being able to walk, deaf. So they call it a foot and glove condition, but it was named in 1986 by 3 doctors, Dr. Charcot, Dr. Murray, Dr. Tooth. And over the years, obviously there's been quite a bit of research into it and that, and they found out muscular dystrophy is related to it. And this is where my train of thought's been going, because muscular dystrophy is a modern disease.
Right.
And then if you look at muscular sclerosis, all these bloody long words. Yeah.
Multiple sclerosis. The other one you mentioned that I know you was having a bit of a job getting your choppers round it, and that was fibromyalgia, yeah?
Yeah, that's very modern. And when I speak to people about the conditions or the symptoms of that, a lot of these have got common links to them, to do with the peripheral nerves, the nerve endings, the myelin and that. And this is why I feel it's important that people should avoid the things that I've mentioned.
Well, we've just got a bit of feedback there from the chat room, and Ken's pointing out that brake shoes, car brake linings used to be made out of asbestos. And I remember as a kid when I was growing up learning mechanicking, we used to clean the brake shoes out with an airline, squirt it away, and it was just this dust in the air. It gave you a bit of a cough, but nobody seemed to worry about it at the time. Probably not the wisest thing to do. And Andrew Fletcher has added that Artex was once a craze. Bet not many people realised that it was made using asbestos fibres. So anyone who's got the textured ceiling and it's made from Artex, might be a good time to get rid of it. And he also says so was underseal coatings on cars. So anyone who's been working underneath or on old cars, anyone who's got Artex in their house, might be time to have a bit of a clear out.
And also, you know those plastic tiles?
What, the ceiling tiles?
No, floor tiles.
Oh, right.
They had asbestos in, because I remember a place I lived in, they came to take them out.
Oh, right.
But they didn't, her daughter and I didn't vacate the building. Really? So obviously all the dust was all over the place and that. Yeah. And then about 2 months later they came back and did the same. Removed them again. Really? God knows why. And yeah, so you know, I wouldn't be surprised in years to come, you know, the consequences of that. But, you know, c'est la vie. You just live life, don't you?
Well, you've just brought something back to mind. You brought something back to mind with me. When I was at secondary school, I'm pretty sure it was the first or second year I was there, the school hall was closed down for months and months and months on end because it had got this particular... it was some kind of pre-stressed concrete they got in there, which was supposedly deteriorating very fast. And then they got it reopened, but then they had to close it again because they had to take all the asbestos out because it was full of bloody asbestos. So, and that was a school hall, you know, 800.
And then they put it on a tip, and then years later they built some houses on top of that tip. Yeah. But do you know what else? I used to have fire clubs. I used to swing fire clubs, and they had asbestos on, right, you know, around the top, so you'd light it. Mm-hmm. And the towns used to buy new strips of that and screw it in and that, and never wash hands afterwards.
Oh, wow.
You know, all the people who had those fire sticks with asbestos in.
Wow. Andrew's just saying there that... Was it Lino, yeah. And he's saying if you're wanting to get rid of your Artex, it's a lot safer to board over it and skim over it than it is to actually try and remove it, because you're just going to end up with loads of dust, aren't you, obviously?
Yeah.
And it's going to cost you an absolute mint to get someone to take it out, because asbestos removal is a very expensive process.
That's it. It's something else I've been wanting to look into, but I'm scared of looking into. False teeth.
Oh, yeah. What's the story with false teeth then?
I don't know. I'm scared to have a look in because, obviously, a lot of plastic seems dodgy and that. And I've just got a new false tooth for Christmas.
Oh,
Yeah.
lovely.
And it's horrible, but it's just plastic. And it started to cross my mind, what is it made out of? Do I want to look into what chemicals are in it? Because at the end of the day, it'll be going in my mouth for, a lot of hours. So if anyone's got any info on false teeth, let us know.
What they're made from, yeah. Yeah, that's a good one.
It's not something people think about, is it?
Absolutely not, no. I don't know about you, but I think we could maybe do with a tune or two now.
Oh, coffee.
Yeah, coffee time, wee break time, whatever you want to call it. And here's one for a special somebody in the chat room. We'll be back in a few minutes.
In the bailiff, but I did not hit no policeman. Oh no, I said I in the bailiff, but I didn't hit no policeman. Going up in my garden, they're trying to break me down. They want to steal my possessions, 'cause a banker man, he wants more. But I say, I'm in the bailiff, but I swear it was in self-defense. I'm in the bailiff. Oh, and say it is a violent offense. Bailiff man always hated me. He wanted to make me go. And I asked for the warrant, he just smirks. And then he just said no. Bailiff, but I swear it was in self-defense. I say I'm in the bailiff, but I swear it was in self-defense. He was a big boy. For 25 years I paid my way. The banker, he want more. Bailiff man says I can't stay, he's breaking down the door. I can take no more. I chinned that bailiff, but I did not hit no policeman. Oh, no. I chinned the bailiff, but I did not hit no policeman. My reflexes got better of him when he tried to throw a punch. I dodged the blow and I took him down. Now he's out to lunch. I don't took one punch.
Welcome back to People's Internet Radio with myself, Andy Young, and we've also got Yvonne with us tonight. Now, I did put a little message in the chat room there, but I'll read out for anyone who isn't signed into chat. If anyone would like to call in and talk about anything, whatever on their mind, try and keep it as light as possible, but, you know, whatever anyone wants to talk about. My Skype is Andy_Young_Skype, and you're welcome to call in and we'll have a chat about whatever you fancy. But Yvonne, I believe you've got something you wanted to say as soon as we came back on.
Yeah, I wanted to thank Nick Noam, if he's listening, for all the help he's given me in building my PC, because it's been hell. It started off with my old PC, basically replacing just a power supply unit.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I put that in. Nick's going to kill me. And it didn't work. So we thought, oh, it's dead.
Yeah.
You know. So I ended up getting given a graphics card and bought some other bits and started building this PC to realise that the hard drive from the old PC didn't work. So I had to get a new one of them. And while I'm building this, I realised after stripping the old computer apart that I didn't put the switches on the old motherboard on properly, hence it not switching on.
Oh!
So, don't tell Nick.
I think somebody might, because you just said it out loud, but hey.
So then, anyway, you know, yeah. So another thing that's happened with this, I ordered a lead from some company.
Uh-huh.
It was an adapter for a USB cable to put on the motherboard.
Right.
And then I got a parcel, and I opened it, and it was a lead, and it was the wrong lead. So I phoned up this company and said, you know, it's the wrong lead, replace it. They're like, oh, we're sorry, blah, blah, blah. And I'm talking to Nick, telling him, oh, so that's right, they said they'll replace it, yeah?
Yeah.
So then I'm talking to Nick Noam via Skype, and he sends me a link and said, does this cable look like this? I said, yeah. And I'm thinking, wow, he's really smart, aren't he? Yeah? He said, I sent you it.
Oh dear. I presume you didn't ring the company up and explain your mistake. Oh dear. We seem to have lost Yvonne there. Okay, while I try and get Yvonne back on, I'll put another tune on and we'll be back in a few minutes. Apologies if it's my internet at all that's playing up, folks, but we are having internet problems here, and it will be resolved hopefully when I get on Sky fibre broadband on the 5th of January. So please bear with us tonight. We'll keep going as best we can. Here's something from Chumbawamba, hopefully liven you all up a bit. Hi, and welcome back. Sorry about that, folks. The internet gods are not being kind to us tonight. At this point, I ought to say a big thank you to Tony Hurst. I know he's not around tonight, but Tony has dug us out the deep doo-doo several times just lately when I've been having these connection problems. And I even phoned to complain after the last show where I got dropped off it, and it seemed the first engineer they could get me out was exactly the same day that my fibre was being activated. So basically, tough doo-doo, get on with it. So anyway, we're back, and we've got Yvonne back on the line. Where were we before we got cut off so rudely there?
We were talking about the cable that came in the post.
Yes, and Nick's psychic knowing of what the cable was. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, and anyway, so the cable actually arrived yesterday or the day before, the right cable. And the company refunded me money, so I got a freebie.
Nice one.
I felt like a right divvy though. You know, I'm sitting there and it was the one that Nick had sent me. Yeah. Talking about phone companies, been having a bit of bother with Talk.
Oh, I don't think you're the only one. I know Alison, who does the ADX files with us, she's been having a lot of bother with Talk as well.
Well, after they got hacked, I thought, well, sod it, I'm going to cancel the direct debit because it was the only company that I used direct debit for. Mm-hmm. I never liked being held to ransom that way. So I cancelled the direct debit, and they wanted to charge me £2.50 for the privilege of paying for a paper bill. So I had a bit of a rant over it, and they said they'd drop it, yeah? So then the next month, they decided to send me a payment where it meant I had to go 10 miles to the bank, get a cheque written out, get an envelope, get a stamp, and post it within 10 days. But by the time I'd received the bill, I had 3 days to do this. And it was Friday, and it meant I had to be paid by Monday. And I live on the Isle of Wight. The mail's not good at times anyway. So I phoned up to complain about this, that I thought it was ridiculous. Oh, and they wanted to charge me then $4.50 for the privilege. And so I phoned them up and I said, it's not happening. You're not getting it.
Yeah.
I said, make it simple for me to pay the bill. You're the only company that is being fascist in the way you're trying to force people to go direct debit. So then they said they'll send me a payment card. It'll take up to 3 weeks. Yeah. And then every day then they were phoning me up. I was just ignoring them, and then I got sick of it. So I phoned up again to complain. And after speaking to 4 people, it turned out the processing of the payment card was cancelled. So it meant that they'll have to issue me another one. And they reassured me I won't be getting charged £10 extra for late payments of bill.
Right.
So they reassured me it was sorted and that. Then the next day, there's a call from Talk, and the next day another call. So I phoned them up again, and we're going through the same palaver. So they're asking me for a mobile phone, and I said, do you think I'm going to give you a mobile phone number so you can harass me on that as well as my landline? I said, it's not happening. Then they asked for my email address. I said, you're not having that either. I said, don't you get it? So they promised that they'd send me this payment card. Mm-hmm. 2 days later, I went to use the phone, they cut me off.
Oh, jeez.
I had no internet, no telephone. Well, now I'm like a bulldog chewing a wasp. Yeah?
Yeah.
You know, phones up and demanded to speak to the manager and all this. And I was just getting the run around. So I said, okay, I've had enough of this. Disconnect me. End of. So it turns out they couldn't disconnect me without charging me for that privilege. I went, it's not happening. I said, okay, how about I just make a YouTube video how you are forcing this woman who's disabled to go through all this palaver to pay her bill. And she wants to pay it.
Yeah.
And you cut it off. And then, now I want to end the contract. You want to charge me for that? One moment, madam. One moment. I thought, oh, it's madam now. Yeah. But it's witching in the head. So anyway, she came back to me. She said, okay, we're going to send you a payment card. We're going to wipe this bill clean. So you've got nothing to worry about this month. And you'll be on within the next 24 hours. 2 hours later, it was on the internet, and that, a couple of days later, the payments in the card in the post. But what a bloody palaver.
Yeah, it does seem that they're making it more difficult to pay for anything, and is that possibly a way of bringing in this cashless society so that we all have to be connected to the internet, so that we all have to give everybody all our details so they can just take money out of our bank whenever they want, which seems to be the case with direct debit, because you haven't really got control over a direct debit, have you? I've actually cancelled direct debits in the past with the bank, with the company that the direct debit is with, and the direct debit's still gone out, which is totally against the direct debit code of practice or whatever it states on there. And when you try and get a clawback, a lot of them refuse to do it, even though it states in their code of practice, or whatever it is with the underneath the direct debit, it states there that if they make a mistake or anything comes out of your account that's not authorised, they must give you it back straight away. I've had the same problem. They don't do that.
Well, I've been here since February, and I think in all, Talk's wiped about £150 minimum from my phone bills for one reason or another. Like when I first moved in here, they changed the contract and didn't tell me, and I ended up with a £75 bill. And they were charging me for calls that I used to get free, because I used to phone my daughter in America. Wow. And I said, you changed the contract without telling me, and then have the cheek to charge me for that. And they were giving me the run around and that. I said, forget it. I said, just put me on to the manager. That's what you should do, folks. You know, if they start giving you the run around, end the conversation. Take it up the ladder. So anyway, after speaking to the manager and that, they decided to wipe that £75 bill clean. So, you know, it does work if you stick to your guns. You know, you don't have to use foul language. You don't have to shout. But stick with it, because you're right.
Mm-hmm. I see we've been joined in the chat room by Unique Lee. Good evening, Lee. Hope you've had a brilliant day with your cube of aspartame. And looking forward to hearing what you've got going on tonight, as well with Martin Farrell, who's following us at 9 o'clock. Lee's then stepping in at 11. And I don't know if we've got listeners' tunes tonight. Do you know?
No good.
No. Well, I know Tony's having a meal with some family, so I don't know if he'll be back in time to do the tunes, but he's always floating about somewhere, so if he's not about, I might try and stick a few on myself. Save us all from the loop, eh?
Yes, that dreaded loop. Yeah, it's definitely a hammer job at times, that loop, isn't it? Yeah. I can, you know, as you've got problems with your internet, I can always come down with my hammer and, you know,
well,
I've
had no end of engineers out, and they can't fix it with all their fancy tools and their smartphones plugged in the wall. So, yeah, hammer might be an idea.
Well, you know, when I was building this PC, there was this metal brace on it, and for the life of me, I couldn't get it off. Yeah, and I thought, well, if we use the hammer, You know, it's going to be a bit heavy. And I thought, and I used a knife, but it bent. So I thought a chisel would do the job, yeah. And, yeah, it worked. Where there's a will, there's a way, isn't there?
Absolutely, yeah. I've just seen a little message from Lee, and he says, don't forget the dark side is open to all tonight. No major topics, just fun, mirth, music and mayhem. And he plans to be very merry by 11 p.m, so that should be great fun there. I know Martin's got quite a bit of fun planned tonight, so hopefully that'll be an entertaining evening. You know, we don't always do entertainment on here. It's more about educating and informing people. But I think tonight a bit of entertainment wouldn't go amiss, don't you?
Oh, definitely. Do you think I should get the ginger wine out?
Oh, go steady with that. Yeah. What? You're going to go for 2 sips tonight?
Oh, that was ridiculous, wasn't it? Yeah. At least I'm a cheap date.
Yeah. Well,
if there's any offers out there.
Yeah, I've got somebody who wants to come and join us on the call, so I'll put a tune on. And yeah, we didn't get the Chumbawamba song last time, so we'll have another go this time. And we'll bring someone else in, and then we'll be back in a few minutes, folks. Welcome back to People's Internet Radio with myself, Andy Young, and with Yvonne, a.k.a. Babs, from the chat room. And we've got joining us now Ken and Suzy out in Spain. Good evening, fellas.
Hello, hello.
And I believe Susie's busy preparing your feast, isn't she, at the minute?
She is, yes.
No high fructose corn syrup involved there, hopefully, then.
I can't hear for this music in the background. Why am I still getting that?
Oh, I don't know.
It's gone.
Welcome back to You've got the player going on your PC somewhere, Ken.
Yeah.
If you could just pause that. Has that sorted it out? Yeah, brilliant, mate.
That's sorted it out.
So
I used to work in IT. There were gas computers in those days.
Yeah. So what have you been up to then? What have you got to report from over in the land of the rabbits?
Which one are you talking to? Myself or Yvonne?
Oh, well, I believe Iberia, Spain is the land of the rabbits, isn't it?
Is it? Oh, well, there you go.
Mm.
You educate me, sir. Thank you once again.
Oh, yeah.
Over here, it kind of closed down. It closed down for something I've never heard of before, actually, a conception day. That's when the angel came down to Mary, and something must have happened, because I think that was about the 6th, something like 15 days later, a baby was born.
Oh, well, that's quite a clever trick, that, isn't it?
And they celebrate that day in Spain by just shutting down.
Oh, right. I don't remember that one from when I was over there, but then in Benidorm, it's not really part of Spain, it's completely different.
No, that's UK.
Yeah. They certainly know how to throw a good party there, don't they?
Yes. I'm just concerned by the registration plate on the car at the little church just up the road here, having 666 on it, you know. I think that's a bit of a clue.
Yeah. Is that probably the priest's car, maybe?
Do you call them priests? I don't know. Don't get me on religion, I'm no expert.
No, I think it's probably best staying away from that. Not a religious day at all, is it?
Yeah, religious.
I think that 15-day pregnancy is an ideal pregnancy for every woman, that. 15 days instead of 9 months.
Well, what about 15 minutes?
No, you'd like to have, you know, the cravings of the ice cream and the chocolate and all that, you know?
Well, not me personally, no, I've never been pregnant. I've always been very careful.
Oh, here you go. We've got a brilliant suggestion, as is usually the case, from Andrew Fletcher in the chat room. He says, seriously though, if we substituted spruce for ganja Christmas trees, we would have a very Merry Christmas, and we could set fire to them in the garden very slowly. Any thoughts?
That's a very good suggestion.
And he also says he thought Ann Summers was Land of the Rabbits, but maybe we'll look at it.
I haven't got a Christmas tree. I haven't even got any lights up.
I thought you was going to tell me you haven't got a rampant rabbit there for a minute.
No.
Oh, stump for words, nearly there, weren't you?
I've seen one. Hold on,
I see.
The watershed. We're not past the watershed, folks.
That was ungallant, young man.
Me? Moi? No. So, out in Spain, I notice you've been doing quite a lot of photographs and videos of the those strange linear clouds that keep appearing.
Yes. I don't think it's anything to be concerned about. I just think that God just got creative. He got sick of the fluffy things. He's more into angles and straight lines.
Oh, right. Playing noughts and crosses.
It's nothing
in the
to be
sky.
concerned about, because I think God's got his finger on the pulse and he'll sort this out.
Okay.
He just changed the shape of clouds. That's all he's done.
Ah, right.
Sorry, I don't know what happened there. There's a man with a white coat outside the door. Have to go.
So, well, we originally it was planned tonight. Jason was going to come on and join me, but I don't know. He must have had a bit of a snooze after his dinner, perhaps, and not come round yet. But anybody else wants to call in? My Skype is Andy_Young_Skype. We'd be glad to get you on board and have a chat with us. Just having a bit of a fun, kick around, play some tunes, talk about whatever comes to mind tonight. So, what's been on your mind over this wonderful holiday period, Ken?
Not the best question to ask, because exercising ghosts, I will say, is what I'm doing over Christmas.
Oh, yeah, I get you, mate.
Yeah.
I think we've all got a lot of those, and as well as being a time of supposed joy, it's also one of the saddest times for people who've either lost someone or had some tragedy happen at that time of year, isn't it? And for anyone who's out there and wants to call in, have a chat with us, you're more than welcome. But have you?
It's certainly has been a dark winter this year. It's been one of the darkest winters I think I've experienced. You know, I don't know what you think yourselves.
I can't really comment because I wasn't there. Late November, it was sunbathing weather to a northern Englishman. So I can't comment. I've seen the weather reports, and I know one of my gates has been blown down by the wind and things back home, but...
No, I don't mean in the sense of, you know, light and dark. I mean with what people have been feeling emotionally.
Oh, well, vibrations are going berserk, and numbers are going berserk. Numbers are going absolutely berserk out here. There is a lift that people can't resist, and there's a force trying to resist that lift. And I think we're feeling a lot of that. I mean, personally, that's my feeling.
Right. You mean, are you referring to what people often call raising our vibration, Ken?
Yes, without a doubt. Without a doubt. And there is resistance to that. I'm no astrologer, but as you know, sometimes I listen into things. There's been planetary movements, which is causing the kind of pressures as well.
Oh, right, yeah. I know Suzy studies that quite deeply, doesn't she? And some of the stuff that she comes out with is quite, whoa!
Yeah, there was... there's been some strange things that have occurred, which I'm not going to go into, which convince me of certain things. certain forces beyond our comprehension or our, intangible forces. They are at work.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people feel that. And you can factor that into the atmospheric changes and whatever harps up to. There's many different ways to hit the senses, and I think they're just ramping up buttons in certain areas.
Uh-huh.
It's bizarre because I remember watching Bruce Lipton stuff way back, yeah. And when I became aware of fractals and all that, that's where I wanted to take my art, because I could relate to it a lot. And then someone passed me a documentary to watch, a vid to watch, of the holographic universe. And then I got sent a link to the electric universe. Yeah, all these universes, no wonder I'm busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when I got the holographic universe, I knew it was one of those bids that was going to take me deep down the rabbit hole, and I didn't know if I wanted to go down the rabbit hole yet again. So I just, in the end, I decided to watch part one, and it was bizarre, it was surreal, because I was talking to you about this before.
Yeah.
It was weird because it's really hard to explain, but it's like your whole body becomes nothing. It's kind of invisible. To get to that level where your body is nothing, it means nothing, and it's like you have to let go of all your fears of death, the control mechanism. Everything has to become nothing, irrelevant. And once you get over that step of letting everything go, that's when this amazing journey, trip happens.
So, but just to clarify there, you really touching on out-of-body experiences or astral projection there, aren't you?
Call it whatever. And this is my experience.
Yeah.
And it's like, and it's even being prepared to die, bodily, mentally. It's bizarre. And as I was saying, once you get past that, that's, as I say, once the experience, the magic and that happens. And it was bizarre because it was the things I could see. So the next, when I woke up after my REM sleep, yeah, I woke up with a question on my mind: is the Holy Grail death? Because then I realised the Holy Grail is not this object that we've been lied to. It's what's within each of us.
Yeah.
So obviously going down this rabbit hole has really made me seek these questions, and I want answers to these questions. And so anyway, the next night, this is still going on, yeah, and I get to that level again, and then I realise, the Holy Grail is life and death, and it's all within us, and it's once we cross that fear, that the chains we've been bound to, spiritually, mentally, whatever, it's amazing, because it's like when I kept seeing this image of the Holy Grail and dead bodies.
Yeah.
And obviously it was because death was such a big issue in my childhood, because my mum died when I was young, sisters died, and that, I couldn't even go past the cemetery without, and it was many years it took me to get over that, and it was I still realised there was still part of me that had an issue about death and about fear, loneliness and that. And that kind of just all vanished.
Wow.
You know, I'm more likely to sound like a mad woman now.
Not at all. I mean, astral projection or leaving your body with your spirit, soul, whatever you call it, it's something I've been trying to do for quite a few years now and never really had any success. So I kind of keep working on it and keep trying. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm a bit too fearful myself still, although I thought I'd kind of lost most of that, but difficult to know.
I think what holds us back, sorry for interrupting, years ago, someone gave me some pills and said that there was speed, yeah?
Right.
And I took some, and for a week I never slept because I was so scared of going to sleep because I kept leaving my body. I was 19, didn't know anything about astral projection and that, and I thought I was going insane. So I ended up just by chance talking to someone about my experiences and that, and he said, oh, it's leaving your body, you're experiencing astral projection. So I ended up, now times were hard money-wise, and I ended up sending off for this book on astral projection. And I came back and basically it was just like A4 paper in a plastic bag. What's that metal stuff? Stapled together. And I felt so robbed and cheated. I just left the whole topic aside. Yeah, never really kind of bothered trying to go there again. So a good few years later. But I think one of the problems that hold us back is the fear of letting go. And that's what holds us back from leaving our body. And that's the sense of letting go of death. Because it was like, I was scared to let go because if I let go, I would die. Mm-hmm. And I crossed that bridge where I thought, so what? If I die, I die. It's just another dimension and another level, another plane, whatever you care to call it. And that's what I let go of.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so...
It makes sense.
It does, it makes a lot of sense.
Makes sense to me.
I was just going to ask Ken, we've known each other a while now, but it's something we've never discussed. Have you had any out-of-body experiences in your time?
No.
Oh, that was a nice, simple, brief answer there, Ken. Thanks for that.
I can't comment any further than that. No, I haven't.
Is it something you've ever tried?
No.
No.
Not consciously. I've tried to communicate with... I feel a presence in my house in England, and I've tried to communicate, but I can't. It won't with me.
I'm with it.
I know I've been used as a conduit of communication recently.
Can you explain a bit more what you mean by that, Ken?
Well, what a conduit is? It is something through which something travels. I think I've been used as a connection.
Yeah, I think I know where you're coming from.
Expanding up, bringing personalities into it. I've experienced saying things and passing messages as they come into me that are not conscious in my thoughts.
Right, almost channeling messages there, then.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I've experienced that.
Oh, wow. Well, you seem to have played a big part in my year in that a lot of the people that I've come to regard as very close friends since the start of this year, you've introduced me to them.
And you've also seen the best rock and roll band possibly in the world.
Possibly in the world, and that would be the Force, wouldn't it?
That would indeed be the Force.
Yeah, we've got to give them a shout out because they're a great band, and it was through them that I actually got to first meet you. So, yeah.
Yes.
Heavy rock music, not really my music of choice, but I went to see the Force. What would you travel about 60 miles to go and see them? and absolutely tremendous. They blew me away. And there was some guy who was helping him with the sound check, climbed on stage and started playing the guitar. He was awesome. I don't know if you know him, but he was really good. Oh, only once, Ken?
No, in that very bar where you were, they got me up to play a couple of numbers.
Uh-huh.
So that's my claim to fame. I played lead guitar with the Force.
Wow.
I tried to play the drums once and I broke the cymbals, is it? You know, those round metal disc things.
I don't know anything about drums.
Well, one of those brass disc things anyway, I broke one of them. Yeah.
I thought that was tableware. I just thought, they don't get much of a break. So, yeah, they take the food with them and the tableware. I don't understand drummers, so right.
So have you guys had your dinner today, yeah? No, not have I.
Define the word dinner.
Well, I'm going to have roast potatoes, stuffing, Yorkshire pudding, cabbage, carrot and turnip, sprouts, maybe applesauce and gravy, but gravy where the teaspoon stands up in it.
Oh, nice one. And if you've got any gravy left over, you can go out and do a bit of bricklaying, maybe.
Oh, Gordon Bennett, yeah. My first pie I made, I must have been about 5, yeah, and I forgot about it till 3 days later. My mother reminded me, and when I got it out, obviously it was just like a brick, yeah. But everyone knows that I'm such a wonderful cook.
Yes, your cooking is getting quite famous in the chat room now.
Yeah, to the extent that Andy and Luby bought me a timer, so I don't pay me cooking anymore. Yeah, thank you for that.
You're very welcome. I'm presuming you don't want to tell them what you thought it was originally.
It is an L-shaped timer.
Uh-huh.
Yes, which I thought was interesting. What was the first record you guys ever bought?
Ken?
The first album would be Beard of Stars, Tyrannosaurus Rex.
And Susie, what was your first record you ever bought?
J.J. Cale, Naturally.
Oh, wow.
That's class.
Yeah.
That's class.
Yeah, great taste there. For me, I'm just thinking, I think the first single I ever bought was... it was Rod Stewart.
Python Lee Jackson.
It was what made Milwaukee famous was the B-side. I can't remember what the A-side was, actually. First album, I think it was probably Slade album, probably Come On Feel the Noise. And what was yours, Yvonne?
I can't remember what my first album was. I don't think I've ever bought an album.
Right.
It's just weird.
What was the first one that you nicked then?
Yeah, I didn't nick albums. I remember getting caught shoplifting one time for robbing a tin of pork stuffed roll for me mum. Yeah, in the co-op when I was about 7.
Ooh.
Anyway, my first song, my first record that I bought was Lena Savaroni, Memories Making Eyes.
Oh, I've got to take my hat off to you there for admitting to that. There you go.
So you're the person that bought that one.
Me and my mate Sylvia, yeah, used to sing our heads off on the top deck of the bus. To that, we just scream our lungs out singing that song. Yeah. So, yeah.
That's got me lost for words, that, actually. I can't believe that you actually bought that.
Oh, I was 10.
We were all a lot younger in them days, weren't we?
Yeah. You know, when our kid came out, you know, how many kids bought our kid record? Do you remember our kid?
No.
Exactly.
I do remember the name.
Yeah. Some boy band in the 70s. I can't even remember. Frags would remember.
He's not old enough to remember the 70s.
Yeah, but he likes tacky music. I'm kidding, Frags.
Yeah. I bet he's having a nice snooze after his dinner somewhere.
Yeah.
So, Ken, you have been a musician for an awful long time now, and
Allegedly.
not allegedly, pretty amazing guitar player, and most of the PIR listeners will be familiar with a couple of tracks that you've recorded for us. First one being I Chin the Bailiff, and the other one we've got is No Mortgage, No Crime. Have you got any new ones in the pipeline for us?
Yes. As I discussed with you, there's a young lady whose record you, whose live recording you play about, I something did up, I can't think of the second word there.
The Katie one, yeah, Katie Goodman, yeah, that'll be interesting to hear your take on that one. Looking forward to hearing that one.
However, I am having problems with this little Apple Mac and recording at the moment, so I was going to do you a nice jingle that you could use over Christmas, but the machine has failed.
Oh, but that's a shame, mate. I would have been looking forward to that if I'd known about it.
It was going to be a surprise.
Well, I think we'd have a job to eclipse Tony's jingle, wouldn't we? His Christmas jingle. So,
that's what I was aiming for. I just want to try and outdo Wilco.
Yeah.
I love Tony. I think he's brilliant.
Pinky and Perky. Do you remember Pinky and Perky?
Yeah.
I'm obviously too young for that.
Oh. Can you smell that?
Yeah.
It's called shit. Yeah, good old Pinky and Perky.
Oh, Lee says his mother brought him Kenny Rogers' Coward of the County. Apparently, as a child, he liked it.
Oh.
And the first single he ever bought was Ghostbusters. Wow. Ray Parker Jr. there, wasn't it?
They're both better than Luna Zavaroni, though, aren't they?
Well, it was a moment in time, you know. If you'd have been born 10 or 15 years later, you might have bought Ghostbusters as your first single.
Aye. Our times change.
Yeah.
My first single I ever got was Dr. Hook and the Medicine Show, which was Popcorn.
Oh, right.
Do you remember that song? I used to bop around the living room for that. Beep, 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 beep.
I remember that, yeah.
I didn't realise that was Dr. Hook. Ah, right.
I think it was the B-side to some quite famous song. I can't remember the famous song, but I remember Popcorn.
Uh-huh.
I'm not sure, though. It was a long time ago. My dad bought me that.
Oh, wow.
Hurrah.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Well, we've got 24 minutes left, so I could bang on another couple of tunes, keep everybody dancing, and then we'll come back and say goodbye to everybody and hand over to Martin. So I'll leave you with a song from my youth, and it was always playing in the nightclubs wherever I went, and something I'd like to play for a dear friend we lost last year. That's George, who played the sax with the Alex Harvey Soul Band in the 63s. And the song they played him out of the creme with at his funeral, and it was Teensville, USA. But here's Dexys anyway, back in a few minutes. Hi, and welcome back to People's Internet Radio with myself, Andy Young, and we're joined by Yvonne and by Ken and Suzy. You still there, fellas?
Yes,
Hello. Hello.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, shall I say.
If you hear a strange noise, I'm just peeling me carrots.
Well, do a Delia Smith.
I'm just wondering what peeling your carrots might be a euphemism for.
Sorry, I just showed my edge.
I know who would know the answer to that.
Go on.
Patty would know the answer to that. Are you there, Patty?
Yeah, he's there. He's posting. Oh, it looks like everybody enjoyed the 2 songs we had there, particularly Patrick. Got a couple of more first records. We've got Paul 1168's posted Agadoo Black Lace. Lol, yeah, big lol on that one. And Atmosphere Russ Abbott. That's quite a combination there. So,
I don't recall that one, do you?
Oh, yes, he's an absolute rock god as Russ Abbott, and that's one of his all-time greatest.
I love a party with a happy atmosphere and all that kind of garbage, yeah. Wasn't he part of the Barron Knights originally?
Yeah, I'm sure he was, yeah.
Not the Barrow Knights, as far as I'm aware.
Right.
He was part of. I'm sure it was a different group, but I'm not, so I'll shut up. It wasn't the Barrow Knights, so as far as I'm aware.
Ah, right. It was a different.
I'm sure the chat room will put me right.
One of those comedy groups. Yes.
Right. He was in a band called the Something Abbots, the Black Abbots.
The Black Abbots. That's it. Yeah.
That's it. The Black Abbots.
It was the Black Abbots. Yeah.
Yeah, I've been a lifelong fan of his. That's why I know this. Yes, my tongue is firmly rammed in my cheek.
Gosh, we're showing our age now, aren't we, folks?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah, something, while we've got a few minutes left, I'd like to talk about your website and your art, Yvonne.
Oh, yeah.
Can you give out the address to your website?
Oh, God, I don't know it.
We've seen examples of this work.
I'd like to highly recommend people looking at it. Absolutely gorgeous bits of art.
Suzy's an
Absolutely
artist
fantastic.
saying this.
Really thoroughly enjoyed seeing those the other night, Babs. Thank you very much.
That was awesome.
Yes.
Yeah, it's got some beautiful pictures on there. While we're talking about beautiful pictures as well, our favourite Cockney Winkers also got a website that he's putting together. And for anybody with an interest in cannabis, he's got some of the most incredible cannabis images I've ever seen. And the website there is just cannabis-images.com. And I'm pretty sure he hasn't got the galleries put up there, but there's a slideshow of some of his best images on the front page, and they're absolutely mind-blowing. I could sit looking for hours at those images. Quite often have one on my desktop on the computer and just blow my mind.
Yeah, I'd like to recommend Tony's photos of his big, beautiful buds. They're absolutely amazing, and you can see every detail absolutely fantastically. And as an avid bud lover, I do recommend people looking at that. You can see all the crystals and the pistils and absolutely exquisite detail.
And with some of Tony's images, I've seen quite a few of these images of the cannabis and that, and the way he's duplicated them, you can see the fractal. He's emphasised the fractal of the bud, because everything's a fractal, you know, from sunflower to our DNA and all this. It's really fascinating, and it's one of those subjects of like, how deep down the rabbit hole you want to go, especially when synchronicity, the Fibonacci and all this comes into it. You know, so that's why I like Tony's fractal buds, because the brilliance, and they've captured it well. So if you get a chance to check them out, guys, it's worth seeing.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to take you in a different direction and get you to check out the prime number cross. And that'll set you off and be creative in many different directions.
Well, I've read the book that I think you're referring to, and it hasn't made me creative, but I did get a lot from it. And the book's called God's Secret Formula by Peter Plichter, isn't it, Ken?
Yeah, I think the one before that might have been the Prime Number Cross or something else. It was mentioned in his prior publication, but it's well covered in that one as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know about the earlier book, but I know God's Secret Formula is now out of print. But when Kane first mentioned it to me and started describing a little bit of what it was about, he said, you'll probably not be able to get it because it's out of print. I looked on Amazon and I think it was £7, so I got a copy of it straight away. And it's a fantastic read. It's not a terribly long book. It's only about 160 pages. But wow, it certainly makes you think again about physics and all sciences, really, because it basically explains how what we're taught is science is basically a load of rubbish.
I'll ask you a mathematical and scientific question. Can you put a boundary on infinity?
Yes.
Oh, you know the answer.
Oh, okay then. Yvonne, perhaps you could answer that question then.
What was the question?
Can you put a boundary?
I was looking for the book, sorry.
It's about perspective and how we look at things. Can you put a boundary on infinity? Can infinity exist within one space? Can you put a boundary on it?
Well, the way I look at it is infinity is infinity, isn't it? Forever, 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 which is like the circle, which is full circle. So
can I put something to you then?
Go ahead.
If you start from 1 and reciprocate, just go into the fractions, half, whatever, go on and on, reciprocate from 1, you will never reach 0. So infinity exists between 0 and 1.
That's very well explained, Ken. Far better than I could have explained it. But did you find the book, Yvonne? Is it still on Amazon?
Yeah, it's still on Amazon. Paperback from $2.75. I'll put the link in chat.
Wow.
I've heard of it before, so thanks for that. I'll have a check at that.
It's certainly a book to get your grey matter going. I know I need to sit and read it again, but I keep getting landed with other books that I need to read. Like today, today my wonderful other half, Looby-Doo, has bought me 2 books, and I've got a book on Göbekli Tepe by Andrew Collins, which I'm really looking forward to reading. And the other one is by someone I hold in a great deal of esteem. He started my journey, he was a big part of it, and that's Graham Hancock. And I've got the new follow-up to Fingerprints of the Gods, which was the book that started me down this road, and it's called Magicians of the Gods, so can't wait to get stuck into that one.
Cool. I haven't read since I joined PIR chat room. I haven't picked up my Kindle. So not only has PIR chat killed my cooking, it's killed my reading as well. But the last book I was reading was a book called Fear. It was a saga of 3, futuristic kind of book. Yeah, by Stephen Moss, I think. I'm still on book 1, and I've had them for about 4 months.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's 5 months.
Have you been reading anything good lately, Ken Suzy?
Me, no, I haven't read a book for a very, very long time. I can't even tell you what the last book was that I read. I've got a few books around that I should be reading, but I just don't find the time. I've been painting mostly and just doing chores, and that's it. I just don't find the time to read anymore.
No, that's
I haven't read since I've been out here.
You haven't read The Spine of the Thesaurus this time, then?
Sorry, I did. That one night I did, yes. I read a few book spines.
I used to be a, voracious reader, but when you've got conversation and Skype buddies and things like that, it's much more fun. I learn an awful lot more too, to be honest. But But I mean, Fingerprint of the Gods, I did read a long time ago. I can't remember. It was over 15. I think it was over 15 years ago. But I remember it made a huge impression on me. But I can't recall exactly what. But it did change a lot of my way of thinking. But no, I can't think the last book I read. It was probably some sort of novel rather than anything, terribly interesting or scientific or, It's probably just a mind-numbing one to get to sleep with, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
You were reading Free Man Fly Strange Stuff.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
I brought that out so she could... It's a bit like a comic, so, she can read it. Sorry, that was a joke.
Well, it's about the
Let me paddle.
I've
got the paddle here.
I haven't got the capacity to concentrate on anything for very long at all. I find that the way my mind used to work is not the way my mind works now. And I don't know quite how to explain that, but I find, my concentration is not as acute as it used to be. I find words disappearing. When I do use the keyboard on the computer, I'm just full of spelling mistakes, and I used to get like top marks for my spelling. And, it's quite strange, it's like I'm going dyslexic, as I get older, and it's quite weird. It's like my consciousness is changing.
But all of this only occurred since you met me.
Well, actually, no. It was before. But, this past 2 or 3 years, I've just found the way that my mind works is completely different. I don't have like I said, the same sort of concentration that I used to have. I find that life's become quite surreal, and I'm not sure where my foundations are anymore. Quite occupied with that. Time, again, is another factor. I've got a clock in my house that's been doing really strange things. So, old-fashioned manual wind-up wall clock, and it's moved of its own accord, either for a few minutes or for more than 24 hours, and it just is quite strange.
And it currently reads 5 to 7:30?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah, I've seen that clock. It's pretty amazing what it's doing, yeah.
Yeah, some other strange things have happened, So I'm finding that my reality is changing, and I'm not quite capable of knowing how to cope with it. I mean, I'm coping with it, don't get me wrong, and some of it's really quite exciting and fun. Mm-hmm. But other stuff is like really shaking my foundations and making me think in different ways. That's the best as I can explain it, really.
Wow, thanks for sharing that, Susie. I see the time is now nearly time for Martin Farrell. So I'd just like to say thanks everyone for listening throughout the year. And thanks to PIR for giving us this platform. Stick around for Martin Farrell. Thank you, Ken. Thank you, Susie. And thank you, Yvonne, for joining me. And
thank you, Andy.
Thank you for inviting us.
Okay, so we'll play out with a bit of John Lennon and stay tuned for Martin.